Hello YouTube, this is Southern Wolverine, and this is a 1 versus 1 Rome 2 Total War battle. Here's my general, the legatus of the Roman army at the Battle of Malva. Alright, so besides my legatus unit, I have a force of cavalry consisting of a unit of Praetorian cavalry and 3 units of these auxiliary cavalry. My main line consists of 4 units of Eagle cohort and 4 units of Evocati cohort. So I have quite a bit of heavy infantry. Their second line is these 3 units of Triarii for cavalry defense and such. And my skirmish forces are leading the way. They are 4 units of auxiliary Balearic slingers. So we can see part of the Seleucid force at the moment, but not all of it. All we can see so far is a couple units of cav on his extreme left and a single unit of pikemen. So I'm going to attempt to take advantage of this little bit of a hill I've got. You see I had my forces hidden behind it during deployment. I'm going to leave my cavalry hidden for a while back there, except for my general. I'm going to bring him up. I don't want him in combat anyway. So he's going to pretty much stay with my infantry to inspire them and all that. So I'm going to take up a position on this hill and try to use this to gain an advantage on the Seleucids. You see he's got a number of cavalry units, mixed cavalry, median cavalry. These are Agema cavalry. Somewhere around here he's got, yeah, there they are, unit of Hellenic cataphracts. Very nasty. His main force, though, is a mixed line of 9 units of pikemen. So he's got some pikemen, he's got some silver shield pikes. These are a very dangerous unit, although now also a very expensive unit. And he's also got some thorax pikemen, 4 units of them. So quite a few pikes there. No melee troops, but a lot of pikes. And they are screened by 5 units of various skirmishers. He's got some eastern slingers, 2 units of them, and 3 units of Syrian heavy archers, also a very good unit. See, these guys have good damage, they have the long range, pretty good morale, very solid skirmish unit. That's pretty much it. Pike line with skirmishers backed up by 5 units of cavalry. So my strategy here has to be pretty straightforward when you boil it right down, and that is, for the love of God, do not engage him head on. So I have to try to use part of my force to march up and hold him in place. The skirmishers can help perform that function because he clearly wants to use the pikes to screen these skirmishers. And if he can win the skirmish battle, he can force me to engage his pikes on grounds that would not be good for me. So I'm going to draw up my skirmishers. I'm going to stay just out of range for him while I'm maneuvering. And I'm going to start peeling off melee troops in this direction. I'm going to leave the spears on the right, just in case he launches a mass cavalry assault from this direction. My cavalry can then, my Triarii can attempt to hold them off while my melee troops get their work done. So you see, some of my units are still popping in and out of hiding or just over the crest of this hill, because he has nobody over here to spot me. So even though this is a nice low hill, you can still be kind of sneaky around it. And as I realize that I can hide behind this hill, I start moving all my cavalry around this direction, and he still can't see these 4 units, so he has no clue where my cavalry is. I mean, even if you can't see him, you have to assume that your opponent has cavalry. Oh, there you see all those yellow dots going to green. That's his entire line going into pike formation. Yep, there they are. Giant forest of nasty, nasty spears. They're talking about wine. I love it. I love the little vocals you hear in this game when you're like zooming down on the fight. Alright. So now I decided to mix it up. I had all my heavy infantry as a group, but obviously I'm not going to be able to keep them in a group because he's just going to keep turning his pikemen he's already been doing to face me. So I peeled off these 4 units. These all happen to be the Eagle cohort. I would have liked it if these guys were mixed in with the Evocati cohort, because these guys have Inspire, which is one of the reasons they're more expensive than the Evocati cohort, because otherwise they're very similar. In fact, if anything, they're not as good in melee as the Evocati are, although I think they have somewhat better defense. But in any case, this is no time to be shuffling units around. So this will essentially become my flanking force, and these 4 melee units and my 3 units of Triarii will become my holding force. Alright, so you see the Balearic Slingers are moving up to just to the edge of range. See, now when I was fighting this, I didn't realize that 2 of these units were Eastern Slingers. I thought he had 5 units of Syrian Heavy Archers. So I thought he had a huge advantage in the skirmish battle. As it is, he has a slight advantage because he does have 5 units to my 4. But these Eastern Slingers are not nearly as good as my Balearic Slingers. But the Syrian Heavy Archers will give my Balearic Slingers a run for their money. So I still give him a slight edge in this skirmish fight. So what I want to try to do is get his formation to a point where he doesn't dare turn it. See, his cavalry's moving. I don't think he can see my cavalry. Oh no, now he can finally see my cavalry. Because as he moved this way and my cavalry came out, he spotted it. No, actually they're still hidden. He's about to see them though. You see, I was trying to move my skirmishers over so they could focus fire on one unit, and in doing so the formation's turned and just barely got into range. Not what I wanted to happen, so I had to start this skirmish fight a little bit prematurely. You see, my Balearic Slingers are just letting these guys have it. I'm focus firing on this one Syrian Heavy Archer unit to try to get it out of the fight. And the Balearic Slingers are doing a pretty good job at it. Of course, I'll be taking my own losses in that fight. You see missiles going both ways. See, now he's spotted my cavalry, and he's pulling his Ajima Cav and Median Cav out. If all his cavalry's massed in one place, he might beat my cavalry, because he does have 5 units. And he does have these Ajima Cav with a bonus for its large, and the Hellenic Cataphracts with a bonus for its large. But these Citizen Cav are not going to be as good as mine, and these Median Cav are going to be closer. Oh, except for those Praetorians. So in any case, I'm continuing to move the Cav to try to keep his Cav from coming and hitting my infantry. And I'm just trying to run my melee troops around his line. You see, he's just bending back these last 2 units to try to present pikes to me. And I'm actually doing better in the skirmish battle than I expected to do. So I've routed 1 unit, I'm routing the 2nd unit of Syrian Heavy Archers. I'm just focusing my fire going down the line. And now you see I've moved my infantry line up, my main line, in an attempt to keep the rest of these pikes from turning. And in fact, now that this is an exposed flank now, so now I can afford to attack it. So I send these 2 units of Evocati cohort into them, and they're going to get into this unit before they're properly set up. This unit's going to get faced before I get into it, but now their backs are exposed to my Eagle cohorts, who are just going to come pouring in. So these guys are going to take a little bit of a beating, but help is coming from behind. And these guys are now going to be charged from behind as well. He's trying to use his cav to interfere. Some of his calves engaged with mine. So in these cases, I'm just going to let 1 unit of guys fight against his cavalry just to try to hold them off, while the other unit attacks these guys in the back. So now we got some good melee going on. These units are just standing back, no reason to commit them until I have to, because they're preventing these pikes from turning around. I will engage this unit that's already fighting to the rear, just in case. Oh, no, I take it back. I'm not doing that yet. Right now, I'm still just trying to run these guys back and forth to throw their javelins. And you see, I'm actually winning this skirmish fight because these 2 slingers have actually withdrawn out of range. And my Balearics, 1 unit's pretty beat up, but the other 3 are pretty okay, actually. So they're still doing a number on his missile troops. So right now, I'm taking control of this flank. There's no doubt about that. These pikes are in serious trouble. This cav fight's still a little bit up in the air. Still not sure who has the better cavalry force overall. He definitely has the best unit in these Hellenic Cataphracts, although my Praetorians are pretty darn good too, although they're losing at the moment because they're fighting an awful lot of guys. I think I have numbers in this fight, at least I did until they brought these other troops in. But I'm actually going to peel off of my Eagle cohorts to join this fight to help tip it, because I got plenty of troops now on his flank. So now, again, there's an Evocati cohort holding this unit from the front, while Eagle cohorts are hitting it from behind. And my troops are getting kind of blobbed up here, so you see me there click a new order just to try to get them moved out so I'm not kind of blobbing my way down the line. And he realizes he has got to interfere with my flank attack or he's in serious trouble. So these Medians come back out to engage my Eagle cohort, and now I'm going to just repeat this pattern going down the line. An Evocati attacks from behind this time, and an Evocati from the front. So these guys are engaged in both directions. I did not realize these guys were still in formation attack. I really want to get these guys out of formation attack. I'll fix that in a minute. But for now, that's still not quite what I want to happen. So now my slingers are just finishing off the eastern slingers. These guys won't last long against my Polarics. I was wondering during the battle why these guys died so quick, thinking that they were Syrian heavy archers. Watching the replay now, I know exactly what happened. So now his cavalry, he obviously sees what a danger all this on his flank is. So his cavalry's coming to fight that, which means my cavalry is now free to do things like this. My Triarii I have engaged into the front. These silver shields are a nasty unit, but when they're getting smacked in the back by 3 units of cavalry, they're gonna start to pay for that pretty quick. Didn't do actually all that much damage, but I'm sure I did quite a bit of damage to their health in that charge, so they'll start to wear down. You see the cavalry's mainly been beaten. It got caught into a fight with my infantry as well as my cavalry. He's brought this unit of pikemen around to keep me from doing hammer and anvil charges, I assume. But it's a little too late for that. My missiles now have no skirmish shield. They're just going to start nailing these guys. My cavalry's just going to avoid those pikes, and my infantry's still pushing. I just have a major advantage right now. And it's too late for him to even try to noob box because he doesn't have enough units left, and even if he did, he doesn't have enough skirmishers left to force me to fight the noob box. So his general's stuck in this fight against tons of cavalry, and some of my eagle cohorts rather are still in there. So now it's just time to finish it off, charge the troops in, and clean these guys up. So they're trying to fight off these guys, but there's no way, especially with my cavalry coming from behind. And they're not going to be able to take this for very long. So at the battle results screen, you see that my army worked more or less the way I intended it to. The cavalry didn't do all that much damage, but they kept his cavalry from interfering too much with my heavy infantry flanking his pikes. He didn't even have any hoplites or melee troops to try to occupy my flanking force, so I was able to just keep moving troops around him, and those pikes just can't keep turning to face as quickly as the heavy infantry can run past them. Maybe if he'd noob boxed, he would have been able to hold me off for a little bit longer, but as you saw, I won that skirmish fight, so then I just would have done the classic strategy of shooting the noob box until I ran out of ammunition. The Triarii basically got beat to hell. I didn't need them for cav defense since I was keeping his cav busy with my own. But they were tying up pike units from the front, which is why they got so beat up, while my melee troops hit them from behind. So they did what they needed to do, although they're not going to get a lot of glory for it. See, other than his Hellenic cataphracts, his cav was neutralized. His missiles didn't do a lot. I had a few units. These silver shields did quite a bit of damage to my Triarii, but other than that, these units on the flank just got totally beat to hell. And his skirmishers didn't do all that much damage either, since I was able to focus fire on them and wear them out fairly quickly. In any case, good game to Ass-on 4000, and this is Southern Wolverine signing off for now.